Hi angels, this will be the chapter 5 of You Are My Heroes by Lavender Thoughts 21 on AO3. The first fall and the forever promise, all done, Aizawa said as he put a fresh shirt over Izuku's head. The boy didn't mind the shower as much as Aizawa expected him to. There was some arm flapping in distress of the water on his face and a couple of distraught whines, but that was the extent of Izuku's complaints. As they both made their way back to the living room, Aizawa had a small heart attack as he realized he couldn't see Bakugo at the coffee table. Bakugo! Aizawa yelled out and heard a loud thud in the kitchen. Once he turned the corner, he saw Bakugo curled on the ground. A chair from the dining room table was pulled out next to the sink. The blonde had been climbing on the counters. Bakugo, are you okay? Aizawa helped the blonde to his feet, not asking for permission as he gently looked for injuries to the boy's head. Kachan? Izuku touched the boy's shoulder, which Bakugo jerked away from with an angry huff. Are you hurt? Aizawa asked, and the boy huffed again. Bakugo, give me a straight answer. Are you hurting? Aizawa asked again, changing his tone to a more stern one. Bakugo shook his head. No, but Aizawa noticed that he held one hand behind him. Did the fall break his wrist? Let me see your hands now. Aizawa stressed the last word with a harsh tone, but instantly regretted it. Bakugo began to tremble, tears starting to form in corners of his eyes. The blonde pouted as he extended his hidden arm in front of him. In his hand was a small box of raisins. Aizawa looked up the cabinets, and sure enough, some were slightly opened. The boy had moved the chair, jumped up it, and successfully climbed the counters to open the cabinets. The sudden call of his name must have caught him off guard, causing him to slip and fall. You wanted a snack? Aizawa asked Bakugo, who gave no answer. Izuku was nervously rocking on his heels behind the silent kid. Time out? Izuku questioned as he held his own hands against his chest, now rocking on his toes. Bakugo let out a whine as he handed the box to Aizawa, refusing to look into the man's eyes. You can have it, just ask next time. You could have gotten hurt, kiddo, Aizawa said softly and patted the blonde's head, but the action only resulted in Bakugo roughly pulling away. Can I have some? Izuku asked with eyes wide, now bouncing in anticipation. Before Aizawa could answer, Bakugo handed his box to Izuku. It seemed that the boy was used to sharing his food with his green-haired roommate. Here, have your own, Aizawa said, as he grabbed another small box of raisins from the cabinet. When Aizawa handed the blonde his own box of raisins, he saw the boy do something he hadn't seen before. Once the boy grasped the box in his hands, he smiled and happily shook his fist in front of his chest. Izuku noticed Bakugo's expression and smiled wide as well, copying Katsuki's actions as he shook his fist too, jumping up and down in addition. They seemed a little too overly happy to receive a small snack. When you are hungry, I'll give you food. Just ask. I don't want you two to get hurt trying to get it by yourselves, Aizawa told the boys, looking specifically into Katsuki's eyes. You will not hit us? Izuku asked, reaching his hand to the back of his head and holding it there. The implication was enough to fill Shouta with anger, but he held face, not wanting to scare them. No, babes, I won't hurt you, Aizawa assured Izuku, trying not to grit his teeth. Cushion too? Izuku questioned once more, his breath hitching as he asked. Aizawa took a second to look back at his past words. He should have added the word "to" at the end of his last sentence. It was becoming more obvious that in the future he needed to explain clearly what he meant to Izuku, context clues not existing in the boy's head. I will not hurt Izuku or Katsuki, never ever, Aizawa said louder, making extra sure Bakugo could hear him. You promise? Midoriya softly muttered, not believing the stranger who suddenly took him in. I pinky promise, Aizawa added, sitting on the floor and holding out his pinky finger. Izuku's eyes instantly lit up at the movement. The grand gesture of a pinky promise was a significant exchange in children's eyes. Aizawa couldn't help but smile wide, as the green-haired boy readily interlocked his small pinky with his. Izuku giggled as Aizawa softly shook his hand up and down, completing the deal. Bakugo, this promise is to you as well, Aizawa told the blonde, who was still a little skeptical, as seen in his untrusting eyes. Aizawa raised his pinky to Bakugo, along with Izuku, whose pinky stayed interlocked with his. After a second of consideration, Bakugo hooked his own pinky, along with Aizawa's and Izuku's. Yubikiri Genman. Aizawa started singing, exaggerating a stoic look on his face. If you tell a lie, drink 1,000 needles and cut my finger off. Shouta finished the song that went along with pinky promises, commonly heard from children on a playground. And even though the lyrics were dark, this time he saw both the boys' eyes shining. Implementing the song must have solidified the promise in their minds. It was at moments like these that Aizawa remembered why he took this job, to keep that innocence in their eyes from completely vanishing. This is the end of Chapter 5. I'll see you in Chapter 6. Have a good day, angels.